Hey y'all, it's your girl Carm, back with another episode of Hoops with Carm. Let's get down to it. Eastern Conference semifinals, Philadelphia 76ers versus the Miami Heat. Game 3 in Philly, must win for the Sixers, down 2-0 in the series. Sixers got the win, beating the Heat 99-79. Biggest story of this game, the return of Joel, Hans, and Embiid. No one cared who I was until I put on the mask. Straight from Joel's IG. Let the world know, mask on, team on my back, got the W. I'm the man, whether you believe it or not. Joel Embiid has heart. You cannot deny it. 18 points, 11 rebounds, double-double for him. Light work. He usually drops around 30 points a game in the regular season, but he came into this game cold offensively because he wasn't able to practice or shoot around because he was in concussion protocols. So Joel had to get going on the fly in this game. But didn't matter, contributed when he needed to, and was a presence on that defensive end. The Heat did not get the same looks that they got in games 1 and 2 when Joel was on the floor. They weren't getting in the paint as much, getting some open jumpers, didn't make some shots. So the Heat kind of were off offensively in this game. But besides that, Joel, great equalizer. Joel made a difference in this game, and that's undeniable. Now, besides Joel's heroics, the Sixers played well offensively. James Harden, 17 points, had a couple of assists, got to the rack, finished better at the rack, and wasn't dribbling as much. Had a couple of turnovers, but he still was aggressive, which is the #1 thing. Tyrese Maxey, 21 points. He didn't have a field goal in the first half, but he didn't give up, kept up his energy. At the end of the third, going into the fourth, Tyrese started to go off. Danny Green, 7 for 9 from 3, dropped 21. Needed that 3-point offense from Danny. Danny's been ice cold from 3 the first 2 games, so really good to see Danny Green get it going. Tobias Harris, 9 points, 8 assists. Can't complain about Tobias. He's been the most consistent Sixer defensively and offensively, so he's had a great series. Now the bench. Everyone scored who played tonight on the Sixers bench, so everyone's contributing. Thibault had a better game, played good defense on Hero, got some deflections, wasn't fouling as much. The Sixers got out in transition. You know the Sixers are the best team they can be when they're in transition, getting fast break points. The Sixers had 19 fast break points. The Heat only had 6, and the Sixers had 22 assists. Big difference, moving the ball around, getting out in transition, and then shooting from the 3-point line. They were 16 for 33 from 3, 48%. That's an over 20% difference from the first 2 games. So that was huge for the Sixers. And this all was caused, affected, done because of the play of Joel Embiid being in the game. He was their energy. He gave them that spark. The Sixers actually played decent man-to-man defense. I know I said before the zone was an approach they should do, and it is still an approach that they should consider if they need to. But if they're playing good man-to-man and they can stick with their man and have that energy, if it works, play it. Do it. The Sixers really were destructive of the Heat, but the Heat did just miss some open shots. They had some open threes, some jumpers they just didn't make, so the Heat were just off offensively. Jimmy Butler kept the Heat in this game. He had 33 points. Now, besides Jimmy, everyone else on the Heat that played were under 10 points. Tyler Hero was the only Heat player besides Jimmy that had over 10. He had 14 points. So those two kind of kept the Heat in the game, but it didn't matter. The Sixers were going on all cylinders. Now, something to think about for the Sixers. Turnovers, turnovers, turnovers. The Sixers had 18 turnovers. The Heat only had 11. That can't happen. If the Heat were going offensively and the Sixers were turning over the ball so much, that's going to affect the game. You can't win a game if you turn the ball over. You make it easy for the Heat. Now, the Heat were still bodying the Sixers on the boards, getting offensive rebounds, getting second chance points. The Heat were blocking out. The Heat had 15 second chance points. The Sixers only had 7. So the Heat definitely still dominated the Sixers on that aspect. Great win for the 76ers. Joel Embiid, you can't deny this man is the MVP. Come on, what else does he have to do? Anybody else would be out of the playoffs completely with the injuries that he has. But he played an amazing game, put the team on his back, like I said before. Now, going forward, the Heat are going to be back offensively. They're not going to be as cold as they were tonight. So the Sixers need to commit to really playing defense. playing tight defense, not giving up on your man, and doing it from quarter 1 to quarter 4, and keeping up the offense. Joel Embiid will probably play going forward, so that's going to help the Sixers because he's their best player. The Sixers need to try to avoid turnovers, take care of the ball, don't make it easy for the Heat. Commit defensively and offensively, stick to the game plan and have that effort and that energy and try to get some boards. All that'll help them win game 4. So I'm excited to see how game 4 turns out. But either way, this is a great game and a big uplift for the Sixers because now the Sixers are back in the series. It's 2-1 and we're playing in Philadelphia for game 4. So let's rush out for that game.